Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we are back continuing the post-commentary series of Mythic Plus Dungeons, and this time we're getting to our first interesting key. This was kind of the purpose of the series anyway. It started to go into maybe more of a guide series where we're going to do one of every dungeon, which I do still intend to do, but this is the first time I've done a second of one dungeon, and this is Freehold. And the reason we're doing Freehold, if you watched this live, you might have seen it. We did a completely different strategy for the dungeon, kind of didn't expect it, and I really wanted to spread awareness for this because I think this is a very, very good idea. A lot of you guys are probably already doing this. I'm probably behind the curve on this, but I do want to get this public to help as many people as possible. I think this is the right play for sure. So if you didn't watch it on stream, or obviously it's going too fast for you to read the chat, we got to this point in the dungeon. Second boss typically would be next, and somebody said, hey, let's pull more trash for Bloodlust, because it wasn't up. It was 2 minutes. And I'm like, oh, that seems like a fine idea. Whatever, we'll pull the trash. And then I'm like, wait, but then we're not going to have Bloodlust for the third boss, the Shark, which I think is one of the hardest bosses in probably most 5-mans put together. And they're like, no, you just do the Shark last. I'm like, oh my, it was like a eureka moment, like the best idea I've ever heard. It was such a good idea. I did not even, first of all, realize that you could do this, but there's some very distinct advantages to this. First of all, getting the lust on the second boss is actually really nice because if you're not aware, this boss actually has quite a few mechanics that can increase your damage or, make things harder. So the faster you kill this boss, the more damage you can do to this boss, the easier this fight is going to get. It's just going to be so much more impactful than any other boss in here. So lusting on the first boss, this boss, and the Shark boss is definitely way better than what I've been doing in the past. And the boss is going to charge away, but you see this gray, or what it's like, kind of like a brownish circle. This gives you a 15% damage increase. Now, I'm not 100% sure if you need to move the boss from it as well. People in the stream were saying that the boss can stay in it. It won't get the damage increase. Only we do. But if you can, get this up while you have Bloodlust, you're killing these mobs so much faster. I'm talking about just huge, huge value here. And one way or the other, the extra Bloodlust is obviously going to be high value. So I think this is the right choice always, and I think I'll probably recommend doing this always. The only thing is I feel like it might be difficult to communicate the options here if people aren't aware. Like, I was literally not aware, and if I was in a different mood, I probably would have just pulled the second boss and assumed that they were confused. But yeah, realistically, this is the best, I think, a very, very good tip from these guys, and hopefully more groups will be embracing this. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on it, let me know. But regardless, second boss dies, okay? And then from here on out, I'm just going to go right across the bridge at this point. Now, the reason that I like this the most, and the main thing I wanted to talk about in this video here today, is trash. In Motherlode, nope, wrong dungeon. In Freehold, the trash is very... I don't know. I'm struggling with getting perfect count. Let's put it this way. We made the video a couple weeks ago, but that count was dependent on the affixes, or not the affixes, but the actual weekly mechanic of the dungeon. And you can still do that, but I don't know. It just leaves a really awkward count at times. There's the infested critter, by the way, if you're not aware. This week, one of the infests is on a critter coming up across this bridge, so it's important that you kill that first so it doesn't accidentally infest another mob. But anyway, coming over here, I really, really, really like, and this is the main thing I want to talk about in this video, because this happens almost every time I do this dungeon, and it's a mistake on my part. Make it clear, okay? Not having count when you get to the final boss is my fault, 100% of the time, okay? But I'm just struggling to find the right packs to pull still. So what this does is, so typically we would get here, I'd have like 2 or 3% mob count left, and it'd be like, what should we do? Well, we're going to have to pull this really big pack right there. You see that one that we walked by? We're going to have to pull this really big pack. Well, that pack is terrible. The two mobs, the enforcers, are a pain in the ass, especially with necrotic. They can't be kited. The dogs are dangerous, and the casters are a pain as well. So you really don't want to pull that pack, but I do it so often because I'm just like, I don't know what to do about count. So coming this way completely solves that, because going the opposite way, the way that we used to go, the options would be either go all the way back to the middle of the dungeon and try to find better count, or just kill this really annoying pack. And I feel like typically in pugs, people are really hesitant to backtrack. Like I'm talking about, if I suggest backtracking, they're going to start belly aching, and that's not good for the key. You have to think about the mental composition as well as the physical composition of the group. So anyway, I don't think that's ever a good idea to go back, even though, you know, if it was up to me, it would be the easiest way to get count. Even with some downtime going back, you'd have it killed far quicker than this big pack here. So going this way saves so much time. I'm talking about, and it alleviates the stress there of the potential, you know, not having count at the end because of my own mistake. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about, which I've already obviously gone by in the video, there's the pack kind of like off to the side. So you come through that wall there. Just if you have to rewind it, go for it. But you come through that wall, you go through the bridge, and then you kind of hug that wall, right? Well, there's a pack on the far side of the wall. So there's a pack standing in front of Harlan. You're going to skip that no matter what. But there's a pack on the far side of the wall that I've been inclined to pull. You'll see it. You'll see it's infested. It was to the left there. So that pack I think is pretty approachable, right? So I'm actually thinking that pack might be good. You might want to pull that pack because you're going to see here we actually get a little bit flustered with count, and we make a big error. And I want to correct that error, but I don't know how yet, okay? So I should probably look at the method dungeon tools. Maybe I'll do that. But regardless, you know, if we pulled that pack with the infested dog that I was just describing, then we wouldn't need to make the error that we make here. The error itself would not be something that would even be presented to us. But regardless, the whole purpose here is having lust up again for the shark. So I don't know if you're ever going to not have that. But regardless, you know, there's a lot of trash count that we still need. So there's plenty of options to get trash around this area. This entire ring is basically surrounded by free trash. And this is typically trash that a lot of people might try to get while we're doing the RP. This group, I'm kind of nervous about doing it, a little hesitant to do it. So I choose not to. And that is part of the mistake we make. But you're going to see it more clear after we do these bosses. So regardless, just a reminder, this guy is trash. So he's a fortified mob. On Tyrannical, he's very easy, which it is currently Tyrannical. So you could even consider pulling mobs with him as well if you're really, yeah, especially on Tyrannical week. It's not that bad of an idea. You can pull, you know, as long as you can kill everything quickly. And the affixes aren't going to, like, bolstering or something like that. I don't know. Bolstering's next week. We'll see what happens with that. But I don't know if that would be a problem here. Regardless, yeah, you know, there's plenty of time to be fighting things. And right now we're looking at the role-playing timer from DBM, and I'm thinking we could probably kill a pack before the shark guy comes out. But it's just trying to play it safe, you know. But regardless, as you see, we're kind of a little in problematic range with count there. So you're going to see what we do. But regardless, this boss, just one more time I want to talk about this because last time we made the video, it was not as dangerous as I realized it was. So we still haven't figured out a repeatable way to use this shark to our advantage. That is, if you watch the first video, we were talking about the possibility that you could glitch the shark out, that it will kind of get like stuck underneath your character's hitbox and it will just kind of walk around by you doing no damage. It just happens somewhat frequently. I see it pretty much once every other run, but I can't seem to find a way to replicate it. We speculated that it might be based on the size of the character model. As a guy in my guild, Vicario plays a goblin, and he almost always has it happen to him. When it targets him, it just flops around. He takes no damage from it, and the shark is then trivialized every time it picks him. So if you could find this out, let me know, but I don't think it's intended regardless, so it's probably not that worrisome. Now, the other thing that I did want to bring up, which I didn't know the first time I did this fight, is that Shark's damage is actually nature damage. So this is extremely good. If you can get this on you with AMS, you're going to get a ton of free runic power, take very little damage from the shark. It's a big DPS increase for the rest of your group because they're not running around dealing with it. And obviously, you know, you're the one who's the tank anyway, so should be getting the healing. So regardless, we kill that boss. Let's focus on the trash. So we pull a pretty aggressive pull here because I'm really trying to get this double upgrade. And yeah, I don't. Regardless, this is a big pull. This is fine. These mobs are just kind of free. They're not very dangerous. There's the caster. There's whatever else. But I'm starting to sit here and panic a bit. I'm like, oh God, we are not going to have count from this because there's a bunch of mobs in this outer ring, right? So I'm like, all right, let's see. We'll pull one. I'm trying to like do the calculations. That's only 2%. We need all this more. So we make a big error here. We pull way too many mobs. This second big guy was not needed, seemingly. We should not have pulled this. Instead, we should have went for the patrol. But again, I'm pretty sure if we just got the pack that I was talking about before, we would have been perfect count. So Anyway, we get this, and then that's that. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any commentary on this as well, let me know. I think this is definitely the right strategy for this dungeon, especially on fortified weeks, especially when the count is dangerous, but even more so on tyrannical, because obviously these bosses are very dangerous, and having lust for multiple ones is very nice. So anyway, thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.